Hello, Beans. Is anyone watching? Is anyone there? Can you hear me? Level Joy. Hello, Level Joy. Let me know if you can hear me. See who else. Grumpy was in for a bit and he's gone again now. But yeah, if you can let me know. I know there's like a 10-second delay. So just let me know if there's any sound. It'd work terrible if I was not live and there was no sound. Yes, well done, Level Joy. There's only 2 here at the moment, but that's fine. You're latecomers. It's Monday. You're all shattered from work. I get it. So I'm going to bring in my guest. So really, really excited. So we're going to be talking about a new activist group today. And we've got the assistant director with me to talk about it. And his name is Zachary, and he's based in Canada. So I want to welcome him on. So please welcome him with me. Hi, Zach.
Hi, Rebecca. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh, it's such a pleasure to be here and be with Level Joy and Grumpy Vegan Granddad once he returns.
Well, hopefully, yeah, he'll come back. He can catch it on replay, so we can talk about him in a negative manner, and it'll be fine. He
Right.
would be unhappy if I didn't rib him on his acting talents and
Yeah.
things like that. So Level Joy, and there's a few more people watching as well, so that's great. We've got Michael as well. So I'm just going to bring some people up. So Level Joy said hiya to Zachary. We've got Michael Askew. We've got the wonderful Family 4 Explore, some of my favorite activist families. They're amazing.
Are they vegan activists?
Pardon?
Are they vegan activists? The Family
They are
4
animal
Explore?
rights activists. Yeah,
Wow.
they went vegan because their youngest son asked about the dairy industry. And really, I should get them on to talk about it. I don't know why I haven't got them on already. But yeah, so they all went vegan, and 2 young kids, and yeah, they do activism. Their daughter's written a poem that's on their YouTube channel about why she's vegan, and yeah, they're awesome. They really, really are. And then we've got the lovely Bo. So, boy, did I get here at the right time. Based in Canada. How are you, Queen Bean? I'm good. How are you? So we've got some regulars on, which is really nice. I always feel a bit more comfortable when I'm doing a live and it's people that I know are going to be nice to me, because that helps a little bit. But yeah, how is it in Canada at the moment? Is it cold? It's Baltic here in the UK.
Freezing. It was, I think, minus 15 overnight centigrade. So that would be like a little bit under 0 degrees Fahrenheit, I think.
Not that cold here in the UK, but
No.
it's too cold for me. I'm definitely a warm climate girl. Like I'd happily be on a beach with palm trees where James is. I'd happily live like that for the rest of my life. It'd be amazing.
Absolutely, yeah.
So for people that don't know you, and I don't actually know this story, even though we've spoken a few times via Facebook Messenger and email. Say hello to Gary as well. Sorry. Hi, Gary. Welcome, mate. I'm good. There's a snowstorm apparently where Bo is as well. Wow. Because she's in Canada too, or they are in Canada there, sorry. So when did you go vegan, and what made you go vegan?
I love hearing other people share their vegan stories, so of course I'm always happy to share mine.
That's my favorite thing. I love it.
Because it's a click, right? It's kind of a light bulb that goes off in a lot of our heads, and we're like, what are we doing here? For me, I have to start with my sister. She, many years ago when she was a teenager, she watched a movie called Babe. It's about a pig who is won by a farmer at a fair, and the babe sort of upsets the hierarchical structure of the farm because they learn that the pig can actually herd sheep, much like the sheepdogs can. And there's some tension there, and there's a huge story. And long story short, my sister went vegetarian because of it. She saw the chickens and the pigs and the turkeys, I think, in the film, and she said, I don't want to be the reason why someone's hurting these animals anymore. And I remember we would sit down at dinner. One night we were having lamb chops, so the ribs of a baby lamb, and I was baaing at her, mocking her because she just decided not to partake in that, while I was, I was the younger brother, so I was gladly sort of eating it and mocking her. And I really regret that. I feel a lot of guilt around that because I recognize like how wrong and sort of what I was doing there.
Do you know what, Zach? I was that meat eater as well. I used to mock people. I've said this before on my channel, but I took a photo of a bleeding burger and tagged my vegetarian friends in it on Facebook.
Wow.
Yeah, that was only about 3 years before I went vegan, maybe
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So
Rebecca.
yeah,
That makes me feel a little bit better.
good.
So I was a little bit older, and so I went vegan about 12 years ago. And the reason why I went vegan is because my sister bought me a book called Skinny Bastard. It's by the same, thanks Family for Explorer. It's by the same authors who wrote Skinny Bitch. I think they're based out of California. One's a model, the other's a nutritionist. And they talked a lot about the dairy industry, particularly, and the pus and how they stand in their own feces and all of the things, the nasty things associated with the dairy industry. It is humbling. Thank you, Bo. Yeah. And it was a combination of that as well as reading Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography. And Gandhi famously said that the life of a lamb is no less precious than that of a human being, so the lamb should be protected from the cruelty of man. And it was between that, the book my sister got me, and my sister's influence that I was like, wow, I don't want to be a part of this cruel, horrific atrocity anymore. I'm personally going to make the right choice and adopt a vegan lifestyle. So that was we're in 2021 now, so that probably would have been October of 2009, I believe.
Cool, man. That's a long time to be vegan. I mean, I know there's people out there. I met someone at one of our We the Free events recently. Oh,
shoot.
Oh dear, it's looking for your webcam. Here we go. You're back.
Right.
And she's been vegan for 30 odd years, which is just awesome. And I've only been doing it for 4 years, but it feels, I don't think it's ever too late to go vegan. Definitely not.
No.
And so between going vegan and the influence of your sister, how long did it take you then to become an advocate for the animals or get involved in some sort of animal rights, whether that's online or?
Yeah, I mean, there's different levels of activism. And I think it's natural for many of us who see the truth to start communicating with people around us, and online is an easy place to do it.
Yeah.
So for 9 years, I was talking to my friends and my family and having debates with people in the YouTube comments online. But it wasn't for 9 years until I actually stepped out into the real world and participated in some sort of action or protest where I spoke to real people and said, hey, what you're doing isn't okay and it has to stop. And this is, again, one of my major regrets and something I feel very guilty for, is that I felt like I was doing enough by being vegan. And it wasn't until I met my current partner, Tasha, and she was very interested in becoming involved in our local activism community. It wasn't until that I actually became an activist and recognized that, oh my goodness, being vegan is nowhere near enough. These animals need someone to advocate on their behalf. I need to do more.
Yeah.
And it was quite the awakening for me. It was a process, of course, but I really woke up to the fact that being vegan is a non-action. I mean, there's something to be said for going against the grain and no longer participating in the horrors of that industry, but it's passive. It's a non-action. We're deciding not to do something. And when we know that these animals are unable to advocate for themselves, they're stuck in the cages, in the sheds, they're on the kill floors, they don't speak our languages, of course. WTF is right. What are we doing here? So then I realized that someone needs to advocate for them. I watched a Philip Woolen speech. I don't know if you've seen it. It was.
I have. I love it. I've tried to get him to come on my channel, but I can't get hold of him.
Yeah.
I'd love to speak to him one day, maybe. If you're watching, Philip, please reply to my messages on Facebook and Instagram or however else I've tried to haunt you and hound you. But yeah, I love that speech. It's one of my favorite speeches. It's so beautiful.
Art.
Yeah.
Joe Fredericks.
Yes.
Right? Are you speaking of the art gallery, of the art exhibition in Israel?
Is it the art? He's like on a podium. He's got like a wooden podium that he's speaking at. I don't know which one it is, but it's just beautiful.
Okay. I think we might be speaking of the same thing. Does it show like art pieces beside him? Like there's one speaking to palm oil and the orangutans.
I think maybe it's the same one. I
Okay.
think so. Yeah.
Well, at the end of that speech, he says the cliched phrase, we've all heard it 100 times, but it's powerful. And it's, if not now, if not you, then who? If not now, then when? And that sort of woke me up out of my shell and made me realize that I need to step up. Hey, Raven, I know Corvid Moon, he's an activist in Calgary. He's participated in many AV Cubes and WTF Diamonds with us. It's a pleasure to see you in the chat. Raven, thank you for joining.
Yeah, same for me. I was inspired by someone else, an activist. She's from the UK, but she's based in Australia. And she was at an event, and then she said that if 50% of vegans were active, we'd have a vegan world last week.
Yes.
And I was like, oh yeah. And she just kind of made me feel guilty for not being active.
Yeah.
And I just had to come over my anxiety and just do it in the end.
Which is hard for us because many vegans are empathetic, sensitive, caring and compassionate individuals because we're so able to recognize the suffering that these animals are experiencing and sort of put ourselves in their place. So naturally, we're not the type of people, the type A personality, so to speak, who go out there and rah, rah, rah most of the time. So it is a more challenging step for us to kind of not only transition to veganism, but then hold other people accountable and encourage them to become vegan.
No, agree. And yeah, if every vegan was an avid advocate at the moment, it would spread so much more. I mean, I know vegans, unfortunately, that do think that being vegan's enough and don't want to force their views on other people and don't even share anything on social media. You don't have to go out there on the streets. You don't have to storm farms. You can do, honestly, check out just to plug my own channel that I'm already on, but check out my bite-sized series. There's loads of really nice little ways that you can be active. And Family for Explorer, that's why I love you guys, because you're so passionate.
They are.
So passionate. So what sort of activism was the first thing that you did then? Was it out on the streets? Was it a cube? Was it a fair protest? Cube.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the
Same.
vast majority of us have our first action as a cube. Like, what a great gateway drug for vegan activists to get involved and do more, not be stuck behind our screens all the time. For me, it was in front of a restaurant called Jollibee. I think they're out of the Philippines. It was a grand opening in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where I am. I went. I was so anxious and apprehensive that I stood in the diamond and didn't move for the entire 3 hours. I was terrified of doing outreach. So I just stood in the cube, held the screen. And I think many of us experience the emotions where our shoulders start to hurt and our back gets sore, maybe our feet. But then we think, oh my God, think about what the animals have to go through. If the animals can be transported on a slaughterhouse truck at minus 20 degrees Celsius, where those pigs' skin actually stick to the side of the trucks, I can stand here for 3 hours and do my best to advocate for them.
I kind of thought of my first cube, like, what right do I have to be here? I've only been vegan a year. Like, who do I think I am doing this? And to talk to people about being vegan when I've only just been vegan a year. That's how I felt at my first cube. And then I listened to people talk and I went, I could have totally said that. And I jumped out and did outreach on my first cube. So I was really proud of myself. I know, I won't even, I cancelled dinner dates with friends that I've had for 20 years because I've been too anxious. So to talk to a stranger about animals was massive for me. Such a big thing to do. Such a big thing. With that in mind, like all the activism that you've done, what activism suits you best?
What activism suits me best? I love talking to people. I really love arguing too. Like my mom and my partner always tell me I'm a great arguer. I'm a great debater. So I enjoy the cubes and the diamonds. I think there's a number of reasons. I don't know. Do you want me to jump into why I think cubes and diamonds are such effective forms of advocacy?
I think all forms of advocacy are effective, personally. But what I want to know is why, you find it your strength. And, for me, like, yes, cubes and diamonds are the ones. I love it. I love the community. I love talking to the public. I love the reaction from people. So Oh, sorry, I was like, I selected on the wrong comment here. So thank you very much, Jim. Welcome. I've not seen your name before, so thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
So yeah, it can be difficult to put ourselves out there, definitely. So the real reason I brought you on is as well to get to know. It's lovely to get to know you more, like find out about your veganism. And a vegan poet, I love that. So what I want to find out is what attracted you to We the Free, because it's been kind of in the pipeline for about 2 years now, and I'm friends with James, who's one of the founders, and there was well, you tell the story. How did you find out about us and the job?
Yeah, before I do that though, I got to say hello to Vegan Poet 1973. That's Doreen. She's based out of Edmonton, which is just a
I
few
know
hours
who
north of
she
us.
is. She's amazing.
Yeah, and she came down and joined us for a diamond. She drove the 6-hour round trip just to join us for a diamond on a chilly Saturday afternoon, I think it was, which is just wonderful to have her. She wears her heart on her sleeve. What you see is
Yeah.
what you get with Doreen. There's
Yeah.
no hiding anything. So hi,
I'd
Doreen.
love
It's a pleasure
to
to see you.
actually meet her in the flesh. It would be great. I had her on my channel for a live a few months ago, and yeah, she reached out because it was a video that I did at Christmas last year, getting really angry and upset at non-active vegans. I was inspired by a friend who did a video because he was upset at his non-vegan friends. It's like, you know me, you know what I'm talking about, you know this happens, and you're still not going vegan. And he was just so frustrated. So I just did one non-active vegans, and she saw that, and she'd only been vegan a couple of months, and she got active. So, which is the whole reason I set up my YouTube channel, was to get people active. So yeah, I'm a massive fan of Vegan Poet. She's really thrown herself into activism. I'm worried she's going to burn out though. I want her to take it easy and have some self-care. Otherwise I will be coming over to Canada and kicking out the butt. So just so you know, Jareen. So yeah, sorry, back to the question.
Yeah.
What attracted you to We the Free, and tell us about that.
Yeah. So originally I found out from the posting for the director position was through my partner Tasha. It was James had posted it up on Facebook, and I was looking for a job. I knew that I didn't want to go into like a sales position. I probably didn't want to represent a humanitarian charity because I think there's already so much money that's being directed that way to help humans around the world, which is definitely a worthwhile notion, but just something I wasn't passionate at the time. And I knew, like, God, wouldn't it be great if I could find a employed position helping these animals to the best way I can. So when I found that role, I was like, oh my God, I need to apply for this, which was a very challenging interview process. The thing
Yeah,
that
he was weeding out the chaff, wasn't he? Really, like he was really getting rid of the weak applicants with that.
yeah, and in case anyone's wondering, we had to read a Faunalytics report, analyze that report, and deliver a presentation to James based on our analysis of that Faunalytics report. It was not an easy interview process at all. It took me like 5-10 hours just to prepare for it, never mind to actually go through the interview. Some of the things that really attracted to me to We the Free include the servant leadership model. So in a number of animal rights activist organizations, a lot of these sort of information starts at the top and it disseminates downwards. And it's like, we know the best way to do this. We're going to tell everyone else to do it this way because we're in charge and this is how it works. We the Free sort of flip that model on its head. And James, I, and the other employees of We the Free recognize that we don't know the best forms of advocacy. Maybe said in a better way, different forms of advocacy work best for different kinds of people. So not in a million years does We the Free tell you how to advocate for the animals. We are here to support the organizers and the volunteers who are dedicating their time and energy on their evenings, on their weekends, who are passionate about representing the animals to the best of their ability. We are there to empower and encourage them to do the activism they know best, the activism that they want to do. I think that's one thing that was strongly needed in the movement. Another thing was the autonomy that's provided to the individual We the Free groups. So I was an organizer with AV. I've done probably 30 cubes or so. When I was the organizer, we do a cube every weekend because it was something we could look forward to every Friday night. we'd be there and we'd be doing a cube. However, AV is very strict about how you facilitate an AV cube, not to take anything away from AV.
No, not at all.
Incredible
I was
organization.
I was an AV organizer for 2 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I became a volunteer in September and got asked to be an organizer in November, and did that for 2 years, and it was a massive part of my life. And I have friends with people that I know I would never have met if it hadn't have been for that. It's done so much for my confidence, for my anxiety, and it's just I don't regret anything. But one of the things I loved about it actually was that structure. But then there comes a time where things just need to tweak and evolve just a little bit.
And Paul's great because he does do those Zoom calls where he's willing to take feedback from everyone. And AV is like OG. AV made so many vegans into activists, perhaps more than any other organization on the planet today. Like, incredible organization, not to take anything away from that. But they are very strict. You have to wear those masks. You're not allowed to talk while you're wearing those masks in the cube. You have to advocate on a certain way. They encourage you not to talk about health or the environment. You're really supposed to focus on the animals, which I get. I'm also the same way. But it is nice to be able to advocate in regards to the conversation you're having. It's nice as teams to be able to decide, we don't like the bandanas or we don't like the masks that we're supposed to wear. So in Calgary, we made these pig masks we got the template off of Etsy and we put those on, which garner a tremendous amount of attention, and I think really cause people to take notice and come over to speak with us.
I love them. If I had the time, I would totally make those, but I just don't. I don't even know. I mean, we were talking the other day. I don't know where I get time to spit nowadays. But
One thing that our organizers in Calgary are doing is a potluck. And at the potluck, anyone who comes will have the task of making their own masks. So at least we get the opportunity to create those social bonds that are required to create resilience within our community and ensure we're practicing sustainable activism. Because we know, as an organization, We the Free conducted a survey of over 1,100 animal rights activists, which is a huge proportion of our movement. It has to be statistically significant.
Definitely, I think so as well. Like I was talking to the same girl that inspired me to become active, and she reckons 1% of vegans are active, and I reckon that's probably generous. So yeah. I think probably that 1% of vegans, she thinks, are advocates for the animals.
Yeah.
And going by our, we've on our Bristol We the Free, we've got 170 members, but we have maybe 5 or 6 turn up at an event.
Yeah.
So it's it's tiny. I mean, that's not even, is that 1%? I'm rubbish at maths. That's less than 1%, I reckon, that turn up to our events. So, but anyway, carry on. I interrupted you.
No, not at all. It's really fortunate. I think any outreach organization deals with that, where the people join the group and they don't show up to the actions. And I still don't know the best way to deal with that.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I managed to do it with the Cube Retrieve with AV Bristol.
Yes.
We had 600 members, and we would have the same, 5 or 6 people turn up at events. And George and I worked our butts off to motivate and inspire and get people. And towards the end, the last year of us doing that, we'd have 22 people turning up at events, which was such a big difference.
Yeah.
So I think I kind of, my ego got a bit big, and I thought when I switched from AV to We the Free, everyone would just follow me over, but it hasn't happened. But that's fine. We'll just start again, inspiring and building, and doesn't matter.
And the point isn't to create competition between the different outreach organizations, right? The point is that people will have the options, and maybe on a weekend where AV isn't doing a cube, WTF can be doing a diamond, and vice versa. We just want to be as active and out there as much as possible.
Exactly. So when how you said the interview was really tough?
Yes.
But James is really down to earth, and he's really lovely.
Yes.
So did he make you feel comfortable? Because he's always made me feel at ease. He's
an expert at it. I think because of his history working in social work with at needs people. He's so good at his communication skills are top notch. I mean, I felt comfortable the entire time. I felt informed throughout the entire process. And I don't know if I could ask for a better boss at this point, doing something that I love doing so much. So James is such a pleasure to work with.
Yeah, he is. So I know, and some people have seen the videos that I've put up of people doing outreach at We the Free, because I'm the videographer for We the Free at the moment, but we've only got like one it's my own camera, and I just take it because I wanted to share other people's activism. But what is We the Free?
Yeah. So We the Free was the fundamental sort of foundation of We the Free. The reason we are called We the Free is based on the idea that we as a free people, meaning you and I and all of the other vegans who have the opportunity to shop at a grocery store and do whatever we want with our days, outside of work, of course, we have a moral obligation or a moral duty to advocate for those who have had their freedom unjustly stolen. And of course, we're referring to the billions of animals who are farmed every year across the world. So that's where the name comes from. And as far as what We the Free is, it's based off of the survey of over 1,100 animal rights activists. And there were a number of things we learned from that. One would be that a third of animal activists either decrease or completely eliminate their activism after 2 years of starting. That's 33%, 1 out of every 3 people, which is such a huge loss for our movement, because these are the activists who have gone to vigils, they've attended marches, they've facilitated a number of outreach protests. They've done it all. They have that experience and that wisdom that the newbies desperately need when we're coming to enter the movement, because we are so apprehensive, we are scared, and we don't know what to expect.
Yep.
We can't be losing those people. We need to find a way to make activism more sustainable, create resilience within our community, and ensure that people continue to get out there every single day. Sorry, I'm just reading the comments there.
Yeah, that's all right.
And another thing we learned is that 95% of activists don't track or analyze any data related to their activism. Conversely, we also learned that 90% of organizers felt like tracking their group's activism would benefit them hugely, because then they have an understanding of what sort of activism works better, whether they'd have the opportunity to inspire and encourage their teams with those feedback loops, showing how many people they cause to actually consider a vegan lifestyle.
Yeah, that's one of the things we did with AV, is you've got the link for Vegan 22, which links them directly to AV. And you'd have that report, wouldn't you? Like, you'd be able to go in as an organizer and see how many people from your city have signed up to Challenge 22. But there's no way of knowing if that person from Bristol saw a Bristol cube or saw one in London, because they were there for the weekend, but then they say they're from Bristol. So and we used to, every week when we did a new cube, we'd go, right, we've had like 5 people sign up since the last cube, which is great, but you don't know who they've spoken to. And you, again, like I said, you don't know if it was from yours or from a different city. So what you guys are doing is phenomenal, and I absolutely love it. I think it's brilliant. So, and again, I know about this, but you were going to talk about it anyway, and I interrupted you. No. So go on, sorry.
Oh, no, you're lovely, Rebecca. You're just lovely. So we know that people weren't tracking their activism, and we knew that it'd be very helpful for them to track their activism. Bye, Bo. Good luck with your meeting. So James and company created a dashboard called My Stats. My Stats is linked to the website called 3movies.wtf. 3movies.wtf is on the card that we hand out to everyone at any of our events, whether that's a diamond or a vigil or a march, whatever it is you're doing. On 3movies.wtf, there's 3 documentaries currently, but as mentioned, we believe in collective decision-making, and we believe in servant leadership. So if we received enough feedback that the documentaries on our website weren't that effective, we would be open to changing them. Right now, they are Seaspiracy, The Game Changers, and Dominion.
Those are I'm gonna share the Free Movies website on here. So can everyone see that? Is that up on the screen? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll just skip the code bit a minute.
Sure. So that's the website everyone goes to, or they're directed to when they're handed a card at our events.
And the cards are really simple as well. Well, that's what I've got cards here as well.
Oh, you're so prepared.
Well, I'm an organizer, so they're just like easy to grab for me. But yeah, there's links to Challenge 22, and there's more videos on there. And that's what I love, is that with the AV cards and the Gwent, this is the speech that I was talking about.
Oh, I'll share the art speech with you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's everything. There's things on there for animals. There's ones for planet, and there's ones for health, and there's just such a huge selection. But the one thing I always struggled with with AV was that you'd hand the card out and it had like an essay on. And I know they made them smaller and they got rid of loads of things. But I kind of think, well, some of those things they shouldn't have got rid of, because that would really help and that would be good. So what We the Free? So this is a We the Free card, everyone to see, and then it's just the link to the website that I just showed.
Yeah.
So, and everything's on there, and it's just so much tidier.
And it's hard to see on the camera there, but there are 2 brackets below the 3movies.wtf website. When you sign up for My Stats, you create a personal 5-digit code. It can be whatever you want it to, as long as it hasn't been taken yet. You write down your code on your card, and when you hand it out to people, they'll go to the 3 Movies website, and like Rebecca just was prompted to, you'll be prompted to, or sorry, whoever goes to the website on behalf of you, they'll be prompted to enter a 5-digit code. So they'll enter the code that you wrote on your card, and then when you go to your dashboard, like Rebecca is right now, you'll see who took what action using your code on the 3 Movies website. You'll know.
So yeah, what you can do is like filter your dashboard. So I can just show my Facebook one, or actually if I do the Bath one.
You really use that.
I do really use it.
That's great, Rebecca.
I use it on my phone mainly, and I can't scroll down to get rid of the Leeds one, but so one of those is from Leeds and 2 of them is from Bath. So, and they can give feedback as well, which they haven't on these, but someone signed up to Challenge 22, and that was from the Bath event, so that's great.
Huge.
Yeah, and then I've got my YouTube one as well, which is on there, and which a few people have gone to. So
yeah, that's quite the inspiration rate you have there. But that's just because you've only posted the link so many times and more than one person took action.
That's right, yeah, which I'm not sure how to go about that, because I have only posted it once, so 1 or 2 times on there. Like my on my Instagram, I've just got it in my link tree. So I put on there, if you want to go vegan, then, because I put hashtags in that are going to attract meat eaters, animal abusers, and then they can just go to my link tree and tap on it there. So I think I've only put it on once there, but I don't know how to do that, but we can talk about that off camera.
Yeah, absolutely. It's awesome though. And you saw that someone signed up for Challenge 22. Yeah. You don't sign up for Challenge 22 willy-nilly. You sign up for Challenge 22 because you're seriously considering asking for help. How do I make this transition? Because I already see that this is a transition I want to make.
Yeah.
Very good point, Gary. I was speaking to James Pierce earlier today, and I asked James, what are you passionate about? And he said, I'm more passionate about turning a vegan into an activist than I am about turning a non-vegan into a vegan. And I said, well, why is that, James? Why do you feel that way? And he said, because I know that an activist has the means and the potential to make 10, 100. They could be the next Joey Carbstrong or the next Earthling Ed. They could turn thousands of people vegan. Whereas just turning a non-vegan into a vegan, they're no longer participating in that horrific industry, but they're only making a personal choice. They're not really impacting.
Exactly, like we said earlier, it's just kind of like a non-action. And this is the whole reason I started my channel. It's like, it's not, it's great that some people have gone vegan or looked at that We the Free link from my videos, but my videos aren't to get people to go vegan. It's to get vegans to become advocates for the animals and
Right.
just get them to think outside the box a
Yes.
little bit. And this is why I like interviewing people that aren't, you know, the Joey Carbstrongs and the Earthling Eds of the world, but the people that are out on the streets doing it. So someone might relate to you and go, oh my God, yeah, no, I can totally relate to Zach. Or someone might relate to Jareen and go, yeah, that, you know, her I can relate to, and she's inspired me to get active, because it was one activist that inspired me to become active. And I'd watched Joey and I'd watched Earthling Eds, but none of them had inspired me to go out there. It was only this amazing woman, Mippy, from the UK, but in Australia, that I spoke about earlier, that inspired me to get active. And that's the whole reason I started this channel, because you're right, and James is right.
Yeah, he is right. And that's something, I think what you're doing is so meaningful, because it's easy to lift up the Joey Carbstrongs and the Earthling Eds because they're already there, but to lift up the YouTubers with 40 subscribers or 100 subscribers, that's what we really need to start doing in the vegan and the animal rights activist movement, is to start lifting each other up and sharing each other and get rid of this nasty infighting that is probably largely based on ego, does not help the animals, and is a
No.
deterrent to our movement.
Which is another reason why I really like We the Free and really like the principles behind it, because that was another thing that was putting people off in the survey, was infighting as well. You know, it's tiresome. It's emotionally draining and exhausting when you're trying to be out there for the animals and someone's bad mouthing you or arguing, and it just makes you just not want to be a part of it. And I think it's what scares a lot of people off, because all vegans see online is this infighting. Why would you want to be involved in a movement like that when everyone's arguing with each other and putting each other down, when we should be lifting each other up? I don't agree with all animal rights activism. There's some of it that doesn't fit me, some of it that's not really my bag, and I think might be a bit too much, but I'd never put it down, because if it's getting someone to go active and that person is doing it well and making people think and annoying people, like, excuse my French, pissing people off, then they're doing the right thing. You know, as long as you're advocating for the animals, I don't care what you're doing, just do something. Like Regan Russell said, I don't know if I'm doing any good, but I know doing nothing does no good at all.
Powerful quote.
Yeah.
And in regards to infighting, so We the Free recognizes that infighting is a huge detriment to our cause. It's not helping the animals. As such, we are not specifically an intersectional organization. Many of our volunteers and our employees will participate in other movements, whether that be Black Lives Matter or women's reproductive rights or Palestinian ability to be in control of their whatever. I don't even want to get into it.
Yeah.
But many of our volunteers and employees will participate in those other things. But We the Free as an organization believes that we will reduce the infighting and be more effective. We won't dilute our message if we focus on the most oppressed beings on the planet today. And those are the non-human animals.
Definitely.
Another thing that We the Free will avoid participating in the discussion of are things like whether or not cats should be fed a vegan diet. I might have strong opinions about that, and James might have, but as an organization, we recognize we're probably not going to do any good by jumping into that argument. Same with things like the Impossible Burger, because they experimented on 188 rats who were killed at the end of the experimentation in order to get approved by the FDA, in order to get into restaurants and whatever it is Impossible Burger was doing. That's one of those questions. Does the end justify the means? I don't know. And We the Free is not going to get involved with that, because all that does is serve to tear us apart and break down our progression.
Yeah. I mean, I get attacked because my cats are all plant-based, and people go mental at me for feeding my cats plant-based feed. But do you know what? They're doing great. So I'll leave that for another time. I don't know if Regan Russell did coin that quote. It was just the first time I heard it, but I'm not sure. And you're right, way too much ego. Yeah, exactly. We have to concentrate, and that's one thing I will always respect AV for, is always focusing
Hmm.
on the animals and getting rid of, like, changing the hoodie over. I get that, but we do
Hmm.
need to talk about, we need to find a way in with these people, whether it is environment or health. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have a look through my questions, because I've been like looking at them, and we've done them in a completely different order, and that's okay, but that's fine. So why do you think, you did say it earlier, so, and even though I kind of cut you off and said I think all advocacy is valid and important,
Yeah.
why do you think street activism is the most effective?
Yeah. Like James Pierce, I am passionate about turning vegans into activists. The suggestion that only 1% of vegans are active scares me and is super disappointing, because we know that if all vegans, all we need is 3.5% of the population to participate in this social justice movement for us to end animal agriculture. All we need is 3.5% to push the scales. So it's really disappointing that only 1% of us are active. I think street outreach is the most accessible way for a vegan to become active in animal rights. It's just, there's teams all over the world, so it's easy to find your team, and if not, it's easy to start organizing one. Um, and all you have to do is stand there and hold a screen. There's not that much being asked of you.
Yeah, you don't even have to talk to the public. You can just hold the screen. We've had a few activists. I do, though, insist and put my foot down. They are not allowed to stand there for the whole 3 hours. They have to have a
Mm,
break. They
yeah,
don't have to talk to people, but they have to go and have a break, because it's really hard to stand there. Like you were saying earlier, it's hard standing there for 3 hours. Sorry,
yes,
go on. I
yes.
interrupted you. I'm
No, it's,
overexcited today.
oh, I'm so glad, Rebecca. Another reason is that it's sustainable when compared to things like blockades. I think it was in Europe where they blockaded a number of McDonald's supply chains. They're
Yeah, that was Animal Rebellion. Yeah.
yeah. So there can be injunctions. You could be tried in a courtroom. You can be stopped from participating in activism after participating in something like that. Same with direct actions. If you go and steal the property of a farmer, then you can actually go to prison for that, especially in Canada. Street outreach is legal in, I think, every single jurisdiction that I'm aware of in, like, the Western world, in democratic countries. So you don't have to worry about being arrested. The worst that'll happen is a bylaw officer might come to you and say you need a permit in order to participate in that. So it's sustainable. It's something we can do every single week without fear of being reprimanded and jailed for it. Another thing that's great about it is it creates community. When we're on our own behind a computer screen, having those 7-day long debates with the guys who say crop deaths, though, protein, canines, whatever it is, that can feel thankless. It can be isolating, and it can feel like hitting your head against a brick wall, to put it plainly. It can be very painful. When you're out there talking to people, the sort of traditional rules of social etiquette apply, where the chances are you're not going to talk to the guy who says bacon in the middle of an outreach conversation. They're going to be much more open and considerate, and they'll
Some of them do say that, though. Some of them go, so I have had that said to me on more than one occasion, but not in the kind of behind the keyboard way. So, and then you can, it's weird. Like, I'm quite, my husband will tell you I'm banned now from talking about veganism with our friends and family.
wow.
But if he is vegan, but because it causes arguments.
Yeah.
So I only talk about it if they talk about it first. So if they ask me a question, then I talk about it. And my husband said, right, that's fine. But after a while, if it gets starting getting heated, he's like, red card. Like, you've got to
Red
stop.
card.
Yeah, he red cards the conversation if it gets too much. But I'm quite, I know I come across as all like bubbly and sweet on
Hmm.
this channel, but I've got quite an attitude problem behind me sometimes. But when I'm doing street outreach, for some reason, I just manage to stay calm when it's complete strangers.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, it's so different.
It's different.
Even when they do the whole bacon, though. But
Yep.
go on, I interrupted you again.
Yeah, no. And I want to kind of go back to that later,
Yeah.
because I think in any other context, if it was I have no issue replacing the animal rights social justice movement with other social justice movements that have existed in the past, like the civil rights movement in the United States in the 50s and 60s, I think it was, or the women's right movement, or the whole shebang. Because to suggest that because they're non-human animals, it's not a social justice movement and it's not as meaningful is to participate in speciesism. Because we know there's no objective difference between a pig and me that makes it okay to do what we're doing to a pig, but not okay to do it to me. So if we were, sorry, I don't mean to like, it's one of those points where if it was Nazis, of course there would be no red card because what they're doing is so horrifically wrong that it needs to be said that they need to stop because it can't continue.
No, I know. But I have kind of given up with friends and family now because it's really hard to someone you care about. And there's a person in my life at the moment who's got serious health problems. They've got to have a hip replacement. Now, I got them to speak to this amazing vegan, Paul Yude, who is like 84, who doesn't have any medication, no arthritis, nothing, right? And they spoke to them and they were like, yeah, no, I'll try it for a month. And they still had dairy. And I was like, you're having problems with your arthritis still because you're still having dairy in your diet. You haven't gone plant-based for like, just do it for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
No, they'd rather have this. And now they're going, well, I've got to have surgery next year. I went, well, you didn't have to. You could change your diet and actually see if it does something. Or you can just moan about it, but don't moan about it to me. You know, but it's like they're people that you care about and they don't care about the animals the same way you do. And you just think, you just look at them differently, I feel like.
Yes. And Doreen likes the red card idea. So I'm probably out of line right now. And I should say that like I don't have the non-vegan friends anymore. It was too challenging for me to pretend that what they're doing is okay. And I just kind of, which probably isn't as effective as keeping them in your life and continuing to plant those seeds when and where you're available. So I'm probably not the person to talk to in regards to non-vegan family and friends. But back to street outreach and street activism. So as mentioned, it's a great gateway. It's a great entry into doing it. It's sustainable. You don't have to worry about being arrested. You're going to have more genuine conversations with people because they're not hiding behind a keyboard. And, oh, okay. I get emotional too, Doreen. And then it creates community. So we're not isolated by ourselves. We're surrounded by other vegans who are as passionate about justice for non-human animals as we are. We're going to create those social bonds that are required in order to continue our sustainable activism, get out there week after week and day after day, so to speak.
Agreed. And one of the good things as well is that community building. So it's not just doing the street activism of We the Free.
Right.
What's the other aspect? I know this.
You do.
And anyone that follows me on Instagram will know as well. But
yeah, you're so good. Diamonds are core to what we do because it is such an effective way and such a sustainable and all those things. It's great, but it's not all we do. In order to create resilience is a word I keep using, but in order to create resilience, it's important that we develop those social bonds among our animal rights community and not in fight because it doesn't help us at all. A number of other activities we might participate in are beach and river cleanups. We might have a potluck. You can set up a stand and hand out vegan food. You can have a documentary screening night. Even if you don't want to watch a vegan documentary and you just want to watch Shrek or The Matrix or whatever it is, you're welcome to do that as a group because it's a way to get to know each other beyond just our activism. We also promote things like vigils and marches. We're currently considering as an organization if We the Free would be willing to be associated with the actions where activists will walk into a KFC or McDonald's with a megaphone playing the screams of animals on kill floors. I'm sure you've seen Tash Peterson do it and maybe a few other activists do it. And really make people feel uncomfortable with the violence and abuse that they're consuming. So as stated before, we don't know the right ways to advocate. There are good and bad and different ways to advocate for different people. So we really try to promote autonomy within individual groups, and whatever they feel they want to do, we'll
Yeah, I mean,
support that.
I helped to set up the events for the We the Free events for
Yeah,
around the globe, and one of them I set up today was for a fur protest. But the other
yeah,
thing to do as well, we've been doing here in the UK, is once every couple of months we're volunteering at a local animal sanctuary, and we build a pig pen, or we built an enclosure for the sheep the other day, and a new like house for the sheep to shelter themselves in,
wow.
and things like that. So we go, and it's one of my favorite animal sanctuaries. They're very, very small. They've
Mhm.
just been made a charity as well, so that's really good. But that's a great way, because I think as animal rights activists, we do need to see the animals in a good place where they're being
Yeah,
looked after and cared for,
yeah,
and living out their lives. I think it really helps to see what the future is going to be like when we
yes,
can see animals like that. So it's good hard work. It's, everyone that comes, and they really love it. And I know that one of our other groups up north in Leeds, they do the same thing at the local sanctuary there. So, but we want to do like a feed the homeless thing in January, where it's quite
hmm,
like cold. So going to be speaking to you about getting some funding for some food.
we have it.
so
Yeah,
so we're going to go out and do that hopefully as well. So, but we've got a potluck coming up next week, so hopefully we'll see what happens with that as well. See if hopefully people will come out and do that. But that's another thing that we tried doing with like we'd have a social with AV, and
hmm,
but not that often. It wasn't something that was massively like encouraged, but
hmm,
and I'm sure that there are groups that do have more socials, because we have a social after every event anyway, which I'm sure you guys do
yeah,
over there in Canada too.
yeah.
But this is like a spur of the moment thing next Saturday night. So
Awesome. Although the vaccination mandates make it more difficult to do the after socials, especially during the winter. We have a number
yes.
of people on our team, and this is another thing that like I don't get involved with. People are quite passionate about whether or not they're going to get vaccinated or not get vaccinated. So, and I respect that. So it's been much more difficult to have the after hours socials if we want to go to a vegan restaurant afterwards or whatever it is, because they're not allowed to enter a restaurant in Calgary if you haven't been double vaccinated.
So we still, at the moment, we can still go into restaurants. We can't go to a gig. So the gigs that I've been to, I've had to show my COVID passport to get into a gig.
Mhm.
And no one have a go at me again, like Zach just said. If you're anti-vax, please don't have a go at me for having a vaccine. I'm high risk. I've got a heart defect. I'm having the vaccine. So, that's it. So, but yeah, we're quite lucky that at the moment they haven't brought it in, but there is talks of them making it for pubs and restaurants too. So we'll
Yeah,
just have to wait and see what happens. But
see how it goes.
I
And
think we've got one of the highest percentage of vaccinated people. I think the UK have got with
yeah,
people. Yeah, and I think it's like 84% or something, which
it's
is
huge.
massive.
Yeah,
So we'll see. We'll see.
we'll see.
So um, I like this because this is one that you suggested that I ask, and it is what my channel's all about, because we've gone over it earlier. And you have just suggested some other ways as well. But what other ways of advocacy would you suggest to people that maybe street activism isn't for them, or storming a restaurant with a megaphone isn't in their comfort zone? Whatever ways would you say to advocate?
I think vigils are a very effective form. It connects us with the victims, the actual victims of what we're doing. Ideally, I think for vigils, we leverage the time we spend with those animals and post it on social media, because the way that we know animal agriculture operates is by creating that veil between the consumers of the suffering and the perpetrators of it.
Yeah.
As activists, it's our job to tear down that veil, because we know that the vast majority of people, what they claim their values to be, don't align to what's happening to animals behind those closed doors. So when we go to a vigil, we see those animals in their last moments, maybe outside of a slaughterhouse or at a card lock near slaughterhouses where we like to go. I've seen cows up past their hooves in feces and urine at the bottom of a trailer. You see the terror in their eyes. Some of them are crying. You see the whites, their eyes are very big. Um, Chickens, we attend chicken vigils, but it's really difficult to see the chickens because they kind of go right through to the gate. They won't even stop at the light for us. But we know in Canada, the chicken's legs will be ripped out while they're being pulled out of the crates in order to go into the slaughterhouse. We know in Canada that I think 30% or 40% of chickens have fractured or broken bones by the time they reach the slaughterhouse, nearly half of them. It's so important that we document this because if we don't, no one else will. And we know it's effective because there are laws being created in order to prevent us from capturing this footage of these animals and what they're going through.
Exactly.
So I would say vigils is up there, especially if you're not comfortable speaking to people. Spend that time with the animals. You don't have to talk to anyone. You just kind of have to be there and film that footage and then post it on social media, because that will help dissolve the perception that people have of, you know, the farm with the green fields and they're treated so well, the farmers love their animals, et cetera, et cetera.
100% agree. I was going to address Maya first of all. So yes, this is totally the right place to ask questions about veganism and animal rights activism. 100%. This is the channel to be on. But we will leave questions to the end. I've got a few more questions that I want to ask Zachary, but I just want to touch on what you just said about vigils, because I feel exactly the same. I think that every single vegan should attend at least one vigil, because I think that then they would do more activism. Then they would advocate for the animals more. My first vigil, which there is a video on here of my first vigil that I did, I was in tears all the way through. It was a pig vigil. I haven't done a vigil since last August, July last year. Sorry, not this year, yet last year. I've got a bit of time off work. They're always Monday to Fridays, and it's just been manic. There's been lots going on, so I haven't been able to go. But I think, like you said, my point with vigils is that if you're doing a live stream at a vigil and you're showing your face as well as the animals' faces, your friends and family are going to watch that, and they're going to see someone they care about in that situation, and it will just help them make that connection a bit more. Now, I've had a couple of people that have stopped eating pigs because of the pig vigils that I've gone to. So they haven't gone vegan, but they stopped eating one animal. So I'm trying to encourage them to stop eating all the others and using all the others in animal tested products and wearing them, because it's not just about food, right? But I agree with you 100%. They are powerful. And for someone that loves you and cares for you to see you in that state, and I know that it's Rebecca. She can't be bullshitting me, because she's there. I can see that she's at the site of where these animals are. So vegan poet. What is a vigil? Okay. So do you want to explain, Zach?
Yeah, gladly. A vigil is an opportunity for vegans and activists to bear witness, is the phrase commonly used, to bear witness to what the animals experience in their last moments before they are brutally slaughtered. It's an opportunity to spend even just 30 seconds or a minute with these animals who don't have a name. All they were given was a number. They are considered a commodity. They aren't recognized for their sentience, the fact that they have feelings and that they have a right to have a family. It's an opportunity to sort of give them a voice, so to speak, let them be seen, let them be heard before they're forgotten forever. And this happens to 75 billion land animals across the world every year. It is the greatest injustice that is happening today, and it's up to us to bear witness and record what's happening to them. Is that described?
So yeah, that is really good. So we stand outside the slaughterhouse, and we wait for the trucks to come in. I'll put in that bit just in case. And when the trucks come in, we ask the driver if we can. Well, we do in the UK. I know it's different. Some places they just storm the trucks, but we ask the driver if it's okay for us to film the animals. So we film them just before they're going in. So that's what a vigil is. I don't know whereabouts you are based in the world, but if you check out the Save movement, you'll be able to find your closest visual group. What's that?
Her question.
What is the psychological void you are trying to fill when being a vegan activist? Is it some unresolved childhood trauma to stand out and be overbearing and annoying? Oh, so you're a troll. You're not actually interested in veganism. Okay, I did say we might get a troll.
I'm happy to have her.
So am I. Do you want to go first and then I'll go?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a redundant question. It's
Yes.
very leading question, right? It would not last in court. This would be objected to very quickly. Vegan Poet New. I'm just trying to advocate for someone, not something, who is being used and seen as something because they can't advocate for themselves. It's like they have the ability to suffer, they have the ability to feel. There's no objective difference between myself and a pig or a cow or a chicken that makes it okay to stab them in the throat, to breed them only to be used for their bodies, their flesh, and their excretions. There's no difference that makes it okay to do it to them, but not okay to do it to me. That's where speciesism comes from. It's a speciesist world. These are victims. We don't need to eat animals or their excretions to survive. So, I don't know. I'd ask you, Maya, like, maybe you should go ahead, Rebecca.
Yeah. My question to you would be, so would you say the same thing to a gay rights activist? Would you say the same thing to a women's rights activist or vegan poet, be nice? Or would you say the same thing to a Black Lives Matter activist? So would you say to the suffragettes in the early 1900s, what psychological void are you trying to fill while you're being a women's rights activist, while you're trying to fight for the votes? What sort of unresolved childhood trauma do these women have to be out there overbearing and annoying and burning down buildings? Because fair play, that's what those women did. They burnt down and destroyed buildings to get their right to vote. And they used their voice. Unfortunately, animals don't have a voice. They can't say, I don't want to be put into this gas chamber and burnt from the inside out. I don't want to have a bolt gun shoved into my face and have my throat slit or have my baby cut out of my stomach while I'm being slaughtered because I'm pregnant when I'm sent to the slaughterhouse. They don't have a voice. So if you could speak to the animals, okay, then what do you think they would say? Would they say, be quiet? Don't, I wish these vegans weren't being overbearing and weren't telling people. Like, one of the questions I ask, so when I started this channel, I asked loads of different vegan pages, what made you go vegan? And, a lot of people said they don't want to be an advocate for the animals because they don't want to be a pushy vegan. I asked them, what would you say to the person that made you vegan? Okay, I was really lucky. I got to speak to the woman that made Vegucated, and she made me vegan because of her film. And it was a scene where a calf was being taken from the mother. That was the tipping point for me. And I got to speak to her and thank her for making me vegan. Was stop making relevant points. That's why no one reasons with vegans. They draw parallels to unrelated topics. How are they unrelated? Do you know what? I'm going to leave it now because I want to concentrate on Zach because that's why he's here. So if someone could time Maya out for the moment, and if she wants to, I should, Vegan Poet, you should be, I think you're a mod on my channel. And if Family for Explore, I don't know if I put you on there, but if you could time her out for the moment, and then I'm happy to come back to their questions later on. But I want to concentrate on Zach and inspiring people to get, I'm not going to defend why I'm a vegan or why I'm an animal rights activist, because I don't think we need to. But I don't know. What do you think, Zach? Do you want to carry on with them?
It's your channel. I just want to say, like Maya said, to be fair, I love animals. I love them when they sit in the pit of my stomach. That's not love, and you're not being fair, Maya. You're being sarcastic with that point. You're being disingenuous. Do you love your grandma or your dog in the same way that you love animals? I don't think so. That's not love, that's hate. Get it right?
Yeah. That's not love, is dominion, that is. What I suggest you do is click on that link that I'm putting in the chat there, Maya, and yeah, go onto that link and check out some films and then come back and let me know. Yep. So thanks. It looks like some mods have timed her out. Don't kick her out, just time her out. If you've banned her, then bugger. But never mind. Or him or they, because it might not be a woman. But that I know that was interesting. I actually thought at first that they were looking to become an animal rights activist. They tricked me. I need to be more cynical, like the vegan poet, I think. So let's have a look. Where are we? So this is another good question as well, but with regards to the merchandise. So I'm trying to get rid of them, but I have an AV hoodie, an AV long sleeve top, an AV vest top, and an AV t-shirt, and they cost me an absolute bloody fortune. And the shipping was massive. And then because they were in the US, I had to pay for them to be delivered to me because it was over a certain amount. Yeah, it was a nightmare. So, but what I love is We the Free is slightly different with their clothing range. So do you want to tell people about that?
Yeah. First of all, we don't make margin on our apparel. We want people to buy the apparel and represent We the Free. So we might make $1, $1.50. So little that we can't give discounts on our apparel because the margin just isn't there and the program doesn't allow us to do that. With that $1 or $1.50 though, we put it aside into a fund. And if someone is part of a team and they really want to get a t-shirt or a shirt or a hoodie and rep We the Free at an event, then
That's so nice. Sorry.
Thank you, Glenn. No, that's okay. Thank you so much, Glenn. Rebecca is incredible. She's an amazing activist and a wonderful volunteer with We the Free. We take that $1, $1.50 we put aside, and if someone can't afford a shirt or a hoodie, we will donate. We will use that money to donate a shirt or a hoodie to them so they can still get the apparel and represent.
That's good. And it's one of the things that I've just done. There was a sale on the website. So I bought 5 hoodies. We got a really good donation from one of our volunteers. So I bought 5 hoodies that I can sell to people at cost and then put the money back in and just keep buying, keep piling it in. So yeah. Thank you very much. And welcome. Thanks. Yeah, I always it's more about everybody else. It's more about Zach and all the other people on my channel. But thank you. Honestly, I had someone guy on. I interviewed him. Oh, the 40-year-old vegan. David. I had him on.
Yes.
The video hasn't come out yet. And at the end of it, it was like, "You're great. You're great. You're great. You're great." Stop blowing smoke up each other's asses now.
He was a slaughterhouse inspector for CFIA, which
I
is
know.
the Canada Food Inspection Agency.
Yeah, head over to the Vegan Poets channel for that interview because that was incredible. She has a full interview with him about it. Absolutely. I feel honored to be compared to Vegan Gays and Vegan Booty. That's massive. Thank you very, very much. I hope I can be half good at activists as they are. So, oh my God. Are you absolutely kidding me?
Wow.
That's the whole point. That's so nice, Glenn. I'm really glad. Please, can you send me a message on Instagram? I'd love to talk to you about that further. Definitely.
It's the best compliment you could receive.
Yeah. That's the whole reason I did it. So yeah, just want to inspire people. Cool. That's amazing. Well done, mate. Yeah, always such positive vibes. That's what I like. So that money then, the small margin that you do make, then that will pay for someone that maybe can't afford it. They can come to us and say, look, I really want a hoodie, but I can't afford. I mean, they're not actually that expensive. I think they're £25 UK pounds. I'm not sure what they are in Canadian dollars. So
a lot more than that, but yeah.
Are they?
Well, just because of the conversion rate.
Oh, because of the conversion, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I know the AV ones were like 40 quid, I think. So it's a massive difference in that. So Yeah, that's really good. And that's why we've bought a load of hoodies now, so we can give them out to people that maybe can't afford them and hopefully put that money back in, and people
Yeah.
can afford them and make a donation, and it can go to buying more for somebody else. But yeah, this donor was like, I want it looks better when you've all got the logo on. I want everyone to wear the logo when I
Mm.
come to your events. I was like, okay. So he gave
Wow.
me yeah, I know. He gave us £100 to buy t-shirts, but I thought because winter's coming, I'll buy hoodies. And
Smart.
then if we keep rolling it like that and we get donations, then when the summer comes, we can buy t-shirts, and that's what I was thinking in my brain anyway.
Wow.
So we'll see.
Raven
We'll
did the
see.
conversion for us there. It's $42 Canadian for a hoodie.
Say that again. Is it? Oh, 42 Canadian bucks.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Dollars. Show
Hey,
me those
Muddy
dollars.
Paws. Welcome.
I love Money Paws. Haven't seen you for ages. How are you? So we're getting distracted by this. I think that troll just distracted me a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, those are the people we need to be speaking to, I think.
They are, yeah, I know. But like I said, I mean, there is one troll I've got on my channel, and he's a hunter. And I've
Mm.
got a friend who's a vegan activist, and he's an ex-hunter.
Mm.
So I was hoping maybe that he'll come on with me and we'll do a live outreach with this guy
Yeah.
from the States. So we'll see. But
Wow.
it's more about avoiding the drama and getting people to become active. We'll see. We'll
Right.
see. I don't know.
I hear you.
Don't know how I feel about doing active live, like activism live.
Have a great night, Family 4 Explorer. I have seen one of their videos. I think they were out at a restaurant and they were showing the ice cream or something like that they were eating.
Yeah.
They are fantastic.
Good night. Say good night to the kids. I love them. I think they're amazing. I think you're all
Yeah.
amazing.
You're
Oh,
a
I've got to meet
wonderful
them at,
family.
I know, I got to meet them at Vegan Compound. It was so nice, and their kids are just fantastic. They're so sweet and polite as well, like really well-mannered children. I don't feel like that all
Mm.
the time, family talk,
Mm.
but they were when I met them.
Yeah.
So here we go, a minute. So do you feel, we did touch on this earlier, and I think you wanted to come back to it, is that
Yeah.
do you feel that going vegan is enough of a goal?
No. No, I don't think any animal rights activist feels that going vegan is enough of a goal. I think veganism is a non-action, as mentioned. We need to recognize that animal rights is a social justice movement. And in my opinion, the most pressing social justice movement of our time. There is no being who is oppressed both in scope and scale as non-human animals are today. No, there is no level of violence or oppression that is accepted as it is against non-human animals today. They are the only group that are unable to advocate for themselves. Any human victim is in some way or another able to advocate for themselves, whether that be on social media or even just sharing their story after they've been freed. Animals will never have that opportunity. Oh, thank you, Level Joy. We love you too. Everyone's saying bye. It's a social justice movement. Are people okay if are they participating in a social justice movement if they're no longer racist? If they say, okay, I'm not racist anymore, I'm part of the solution now. No, you're just not part of the problem anymore. I think veganism is the exact same thing. At our best, we are a social justice movement, and we need to get out there and advocate for the animals in force.
Agreed. Agreed. I'm just going to run through my other questions as well. I'm starting to know what's wrong with me. Usually I'm like on it, but not happening. So this was an interesting one you suggested as well. I'm not sure how I feel about this. We might actually differ on this. I don't know what your answer is.
Okay.
In your opinion, should we encourage non-vegans to join us in animal rights activism?
I don't want to like just kind of, give these answers off the side of my mouth kind of thing, but it's kind of like inviting a racist to a Black Lives Matter march in a way, right? Like there's a level of hypocrisy that can't be overlooked there. That said, if someone's vegetarian and they're interested in veganism and they're trying and maybe they're transitioning, I would welcome them, perhaps, depending on the situation, to come to an event and hold a screen. Of course, they wouldn't be allowed to perform outreach because how would a non-vegan outreach someone to become vegan? That doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
But if they but we need activists. And if they are already transitioning to vegan, or if they're vegetarian and they just kind of need a little push, maybe they need to watch some of the footage, then I might let them come to an event.
And I think it depends on the activism as well. I know that there
Mm.
are a couple of very well-known British activists that do think that we should invite non-vegans. So MBR, the protest Camp Beagle, if you haven't checked it out, please check it out on Instagram and Facebook and support them and share their posts and get down there if you can. I wish I could, but I just can't get down there. But they're doing amazing work, and there's a lot of non-vegans there at the moment because they breed dogs there. They breed puppies for animal testing.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how many non-vegans are against animal testing. I was actually years, all my products were like not tested on animals. I was really against it, but then eating them, it's a bit, like the whole speciesism thing coming in again, really.
Yes.
So I'm all tangled up. So I think at those sorts of events, but I think if you're advocating for people to become vegan and you're not vegan yourself, it is a bit weird. But maybe, like you said, it might get them to go vegan as well. So I don't know. I'm glad you said that, because I was like, he's gonna say and I'm like, I don't want to meet you at my event. I'm gonna have to leave We the Free already. It's only been a year.
Yeah. But that's only at like outreaches. If it was a vigil, then by all means I would invite the meat eater to come to the vigil. I would.
I'm just gonna have a look through as well. So we've got roles going at the moment, haven't we? Volunteer roles. What jobs have we got available, or what volunteer roles we've got available for We the Free at the moment?
Yeah, I think we're always looking for a media team. Anyone who wants to volunteer for the media team, just to improve our reach, whether that be blog posts. We could always use more writers for blog posts. Social media, maybe some help with the website development, those kinds of things. And then in addition to that, I would invite people if they wanted to become regional support leads in their country or their area. So right now we have a regional support lead for North America. We have an amazing regional support lead for the UK. And
now my head's going to be so big after this stream. I'm not going to be able to hold it up. So there is a link in the comments section there, Corvid Moon, where you can go to the website and find out what volunteer roles are available. And at the moment, how many groups have we got? We've got a few in Canada now. Canada's growing really quick.
Yep.
How many have you got in Canada right now?
We're right around 10. 11.
11.
If you
count
Texas.
One, isn't there?
Yeah, if you count Texas, because we just got our first team in the United States.
That's in the States. That's not Canada. You can't take that.
Okay.
You can't
I think we're at 10 in Canada.
And I think that we're like 6 or 7 in the UK now.
Okay.
So we've got Manchester, which I meant to say to Family 4 Explore because they're in Cheshire and Manchester's really close. So I will message them after this because I'm friends with them. So I'll message them and let them know. So we've got Manchester, Sheffield, York, Leeds, Liverpool, I think maybe starting up, Norwich, Bristol and Bath, which is one group, but 2 groups. So yeah, that's
and North London. I think is it?
Oh yeah, North London, Highbury and Islington.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're getting there. So if you ever want to start up a new one, there's a place in Texas called Calgary, though.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, if you want to set it up again, the same thing. Go to the link that I shared in the chat. The link is also in the description of this video. Yes, of course, Glenn. Please, like I said, message me on Instagram. Have you got my Instagram? My Instagram should be in my about section on my YouTube channel. I think it's in the description. Reach out to me and we can sit down and talk. I'd love to talk to you, definitely. So that's how you can get involved with We the Free as a volunteer role, and hopefully there's going to be some more funding and paid roles later on as well. And that's the other good thing as well, like with funding, you've just got funding for TVs, which I never thought George Martin would say yes to TVs again after he had TVs in London for AV, but he said yes, which is amazing.
Just because they're a pain to cart around everywhere?
Yeah, well, he had a massive car battery, and he used to in London doing the underground, and he had really bad back problems.
Mm-hmm.
So when we started running AV together, I was kind of like umming and ahhing about TVs because I don't like all the cables looking
Mm-hmm.
messy.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got TVs with batteries on the back now
Hey,
because I got a tip from somebody, the amazing Paul Yude, again, the vegan runner, the 84-year-old.
wow.
Yeah, gave me a tip about these TVs with a battery on the back, and they last for 10 hours. So I've just bought 4 of those with money donated to our group by you guys, which you managed to get donor for, which is awesome.
Yes. Yes. And that's
Uh,
the first
go on.
community grant we got. So
Yeah,
once winter's done in Canada, I think we're going to apply again for some equipment for Canadian teams as well in
excellent.
spring.
That's so cool. And
Yeah.
it's a good thing as well. You don't have to be active for, I think it was 6 months with AV. You had to do at
Mm-hmm.
least 1 cube a month and be active for 6 months
Mm-hmm.
before you could apply for funding.
Mm-hmm.
There's none of that with We the Free. And
No.
you buy all the signs as well. Like, so we had our signs bought for us. We didn't have to buy them. Cards we'll get with donations when we run out. But James bought us my first lot of cards.
Yep.
So I think he gave us quite a few. So that's so helpful when you're starting out because
Mm-hmm.
it can be really expensive, like
Mm-hmm.
setting it up. I think I
Mm-hmm.
spent over £1,000 with AV in the 2 years that I was working
Wow.
for them. Yeah. And a lot of that I got back because it was donations from members and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And then not including the camera equipment that we got the funding for the camera as well and the mic. And that was another like £900 on top of that. So
Awesome.
out of my own pocket, just with cards and buying replacement signs or
Mm-hmm.
buying a speaker and all of that sort of stuff. It all adds up.
And I forgot to mention for volunteer roles, we're looking for more organizers. If you're in
Yes.
a city or a village or a borough or a town and there's no WTF team, I'd encourage you to go to the website. How do I get over the guilt of being too much while being a vegan activist? That's an interesting question, Glenn. But just to finish, go to the activism.wtf website, click on Get Involved, and you scroll right down to the bottom. There's a link where you can click to become an organizer. There's also a map of all the teams that currently exist. Please go to that. If you don't see a team in your area, apply to be an organizer. You'll have help, whether it be Rebecca or myself, every
There you
step of
go.
the way. If you go to the top
Oh,
and then activism, get
activism.
involved.
Get involved.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing as well. If you don't know, if one thing that's stopping you from being active for the animals in street activism is not knowing what to say or what to do, then you can get online training. We do free training, and the workshops are usually run by James or myself or a few other different volunteers that we have. And it's done through Zoom. And you can hide your face. You don't have to get involved. You don't have to say anything. You can be as involved or not involved as you like. And it's free for everyone. And they're really good and really helpful. I sometimes forget to put it all into practice when I'm out in the street, but that's fine. But yeah, so this is the teams at the moment. Here we go. So yeah, Bath, Bradford, Bristol, Canterbury, Leeds, Liverpool coming soon, Manchester, Norwich, Sheffield, Stevenage, and York. And then Canada, Barrie, Calgary, Edmonton, what's that?
Mississauga.
Mississauga, Montreal and Oakville, Toronto, Vancouver, Victoria, Waterloo, and then Burlington as well, which I set up an event today. It's their first one.
Yeah, and Nanaimo, BC as well.
Yeah. So this is so far looking good. I love it. And then, of course, there's one in Bali, which is where everything started, but it's not on the map yet.
No, I think they've temporarily shut down just because James is so
Ah,
busy with running the
okay.
organization.
So yeah, definitely become an organizer. Organizers are local leaders. Not really. I think you may have missed the start of the stream where Zachary was talking about the way that We the Free works. So it's like the pyramid upside down. So it's volunteers, then organizers, and then Zach and James, and at the bottom. So we're led. All we do as organizers is we will get the event set up, and try and share the event. But we do hope that our volunteers share them around as well, because the more people that share them, the more people that come, the more people that's talking positively about it. But Renata, as a volunteer, it will be, we'll take your feedback. And that's the great thing about We the Free. If you think something would work better, then we will take that on board and we will try it at our event and see what happens. Do you want to add anything else to that, Zachary?
A great example of that would be in the UK. Some people would walk up and see the slaughterhouse footage from Dominion, and they just couldn't watch it. They would walk away immediately. I would suggest that those are kind of low-hanging fruit for us. These are the people who are having an emotional, almost physical reaction to what's happening on the screens. So a team in the UK had a table off to the side with a laptop showing looping footage of sanctuary, from a sanctuary. You can have a very similar conversation, but instead of saying, look at how these animals are suffering and how they're abused, we can have a conversation around, look at these animals experiencing curiosity and joy and love for each other. What kind of world do you want to live in? It's just a way. It was a team in the UK had this idea. I've started implementing it in Calgary, and other teams have been doing that in Canada. It works incredibly well. So we are very much open to innovation and improvement on the model that we're currently building.
Exactly. It's all about growth, and we're going to struggle to get a vegan world if we just stay stagnant and have one thing. We had a We the Free a couple of months ago, and one of our volunteers said, I don't understand why have you got the nice footage? And then he was speaking later, and I got a great photo of him talking to a mother and the daughter's vegetarian, and the daughter was upset. So in the photo, you can see the mother's covering the daughter's eyes.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that would have been a perfect time, Mark, to take them round to the footage that's the animal sanctuary footage, because the daughter's vegetarian. You can engage the daughter in the conversation, and then maybe the mother might listen. So that's like a perfect time to do that. They would have had a much different conversation about animal rights if he'd have done that, I think. And he was like, do you know what, Rebecca? I'll bear that in mind. That makes sense. But he is like AV through and through. So like, I think he's got that direct approach that Paul Bashir does, which is fantastic and works for some people, but not everybody. Yes, you can be a volunteer. There is no group in Johannesburg at the moment, so you could set one up. You've already started doing advocacy because of one of my YouTube channels. So yeah, reach out. I'll put the link in again. So and then message me on Instagram as well. I hope that answers your question about the organisers, like local leaders. We are running the group and managing the page and making sure no trolls comment on the page and things like that. But no, it's all about you. I always say to all our volunteers at the end of every event, like, thank you all for coming. George and I could do it on our own, but it would look shit. So we really can't do it without volunteers. Without you, like, there's no point really. There isn't. We need you guys. There's a lot of questions coming in. How do I stop my friends to make fun of me for being too vegan? I fertilize my houseplants with my own feces, which is 100% plant-based, to prevent using insecticides which has dead insects in.
That's commitment.
That is commitment. I use a plant-based like fertilizer, so maybe do that. I don't know if there is something as being too vegan. I mean, I was speaking to an advocate the other day, and they didn't realize that certain inks weren't vegan. They weren't aware. So, but I don't know. There's all like, you know, I'm more vegan than you are. I can't. I'm not down with that sort of thing. Are they vegan friends or non-vegan friends?
I'm guessing they're non-vegan friends.
They don't understand, but veganism means a hell of a lot. Yeah, it does to us, and that's why being an advocate and doing street outreach really helps me to calm myself with my non-vegan friends and family. That's all I would say is, I don't know if you were here earlier, but I don't even bother talking to my non-vegan friends and family about veganism anymore, because it's like a rocking chair. It's not getting me anywhere. Yes, agreed. Oh, I'm glad it answers your question. That's cool. Angry vegan.
Aren't friends. That's very much an angry vegan thing to say. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I
I would
agree.
encourage Glenn to start a team or join a team in his area and make some vegan friends, and they'll understand you a heck of a lot better than your non-vegan friends do.
That is one of the best things about being an animal rights activist is I was so lonely. I mean, my husband's vegan and I'm really lucky, and I've got a couple of vegan friends, but they lived at another place. So doing advocacy and doing a cube, I've got this whole new friendship circle now of vegan friends that I can go and eat with and talk about veganism with, and I don't have to worry about it. And yeah, that's the way to get around that, Glenn, is to start up your own We the Free in Johannesburg, be the first one, and then in your country to set it up, and then then you'll get loads of vegan friends.
Yeah, you'd be an inspiration.
Definitely. We've read that one already. Does anyone have any questions for Zach? And Zach, did you have any other points that you wanted to go on while we're waiting for some more questions to come in? Because there's like a 10-second delay.
Yeah, maybe I'll quickly mention the learning and development that We the Free offers.
Yes.
We recognize from our survey that so many activists don't feel inspired by their organizers. They don't feel encouraged. And we desperately need leaders within our movement. So We the Free offers a variety of trainings for our volunteers. One example would be James's inspiring behavior change training, which really affected me in my outreach. I was really passionate about holding people accountable, but from that training, I learned that people are much more likely to remember how I make them feel as opposed to what I said during a conversation, or they're much more likely to remember what they said as opposed to what they heard me say. So I take much more of a coaching approach now as opposed to just holding people accountable. We also offer training through Dr. Melanie Joy's Beyond Carnism. She has an online workshop called Sustainable Vegan Advocacy that's free for anyone if they just use the coupon code WTF, I believe it is, if you go to sign up for that. We're also planning different trainings. There's a leadership workshop being planned by our regional support lead in Canada, Jen. And we're currently talking to the East Point Peace Academy out of the UK, seeing if they can facilitate a non-violent communication workshop.
Awesome. That all sounds good. And there's also there's another free thing, which actually run out of Canada as well. It's the Animal Justice Academy. So you can log on to that for free, and it's like 6 weeks of courses, and you can take it at your own pace. And it covers everything from doing social media, non-violence, to different forms of activism. There's loads, and the press and stuff like that. So there's a lot on there too. So it's great that there's all of these options at the moment to help vegans, like, hone their craft and make more vegans. That's what we need.
That's what we need.
Having other vegan friends is always fun. Even if you're pissed with each other, you can be certain there'll be no beef. I did see what you did there.
Very clever.
Anyone else got any questions for Zach or myself about We the Free? I'm not sure outreach is for me. I'm an angry bitch. Now, Muddy Paws, you weren't here earlier when I was saying the same thing. Like, I can get really aggravated, and I don't know what it is. I think I know what it is. When I'm speaking to people that I've complete strangers, I've got no investment in that relationship, I don't lose my shit. I don't know what it is. I manage to stay calm. No matter how many times I go and bacon though and protein, and we're made to eat meat, and we've always eaten animals, and I only eat free range, and I only eat locally sourced. All of
Yeah.
I don't know who's supporting these factory farms, but nobody seems to buy from factory farms.
Oh my goodness. People.
Meditation does help. Yeah, definitely.
I like doing yoga.
Yeah. I've done yoga for a while. I need to get back into it. Now my ankle's better from my last break. I'll get back into it.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Zach at all? Or did you have anything else as well that you wanted to go over?
I would just encourage people to get active, to get out there and start advocating.
I'll ask my usual questions as well then. So what would you say to non-active vegans that think being vegan is enough? What would you say to encourage and inspire them to become active?
I would just speak from my personal experience. I was vegan for 9 years before I stepped outside and started holding people accountable in person. It's one of the biggest regrets I have in my life because I knew what was happening was wrong for those entire 9 years, and I wasn't doing enough to change it. The animals aren't able to advocate for themselves. They scream and they cry on the kill floors, but no one hears it, and it's up to us to let them be heard.
And what does it mean to you to be an animal rights activist?
Everything. Oh my God. People say like veganism is an identity. For me, it is. Like, it is very much my identity. As Philip Wollen likes to say, we're standing on the right side of history. It's going to get more difficult for us because right now they're ridiculing us. And the step after this is opposition and violence. And then once we get past that, we reach the point where it's accepted as an obvious truth. So it's going to be an uphill battle. Um, I'm sorry, I forget the question.
That's okay. What does it mean to you to be an animal rights activist for you,
Uh,
like personally? Like, yeah, like you said, everything. I agree.
yeah, I just see a pig. I watched 5 minutes of a video of a slaughterhouse, and I know that we need to do more. What's happening to them is such an awful. Thank you, Michael. Is such an awful atrocity. It is. I think 30 or 50 years from now, our children and grandchildren are going to be looking at what we did the same way that we look at slave owners, and
I
they're going to say,
agree. I
"How
agree.
on
Have you
earth?"
seen the film what's it called now? It's a by a British comedian, and now I've forgotten all of it what it's called. Simon Amstel is his name.
Mm.
And he did a mockumentary set in the future where
Mhm.
everyone's vegan. Have you seen
Mhm.
it? It's
I
so good.
downloaded it. James told me I downloaded it. I just haven't watched it yet.
You've got to watch it.
Okay.
Watch it and then get back to me.
Okay.
So, Angry Vegan, do you have any advice for people who live in rural areas with very few vegans and who want to do activism on their own?
Great
Zach, you go
question.
first.
So we're fortunate that we have Ronnie Lee as a strategic advisor for We the Free. And if you're not familiar with Ronnie Lee, he is OG as it gets. He's been an animal rights activist for 50 years. He founded the Animal Liberation Front. He was gone to prison for his activism. So Ronnie Lee is the guy, and Ronnie Lee is very passionate about not having activism in these pockets in the large cities. So whether it be London and Manchester and Liverpool, he is passionate about creating activism where the people are consuming the animals. And that includes the small rural areas, especially with the farmers there. So if I can speak on behalf of Ronnie Lee, it would be to find a way to run activism in your area. And I think that can be as simple as if you have the courage, if you're able to build up that courage, strap a screen to yourself, hold a laptop showing looping footage of animal rights footage, or sorry, slaughterhouse footage on the busiest corner of your rural town, and have those conversations with people. If you set up a table with a sign that says, if you're not vegan, you abuse animals. Maybe that's a little bit too in their face, although you're an angry vegan, so I imagine you'd feel quite at home in a position like that. I would just encourage you to do it. Just do what you feel comfortable doing in your own area, and talk to the people who you know as your barber and
Yeah.
your butcher and all that. Well, obviously not
And
your butcher. But
a few other things as well, Angry Vegan. If this is your first time here, check out the series I've got on bite-sized activism. So there's loads of different little ideas. So Muddy Paws has just said as well, like she's been stickering today, but ready to move on. Good. I'm glad you're ready to move on. But stickering is really important. I interviewed an activist that she saw a sticker on a lamppost and she went home and watched Joey Carbstrong and a couple of other videos and went vegan. But if she hadn't seen that sticker on the lamppost, who knows how long it would have taken her. So if I don't know where you are in the world, Angry Vegan, but if you go onto the Viva website or the Animal Aid, you can order free leaflets on there. Go onto Joey Carbstrong's website. He's got leaflets on there. You can order and you can drop leaflets through people's doors, especially this time of year. Like there are some great turkey leaflets. Also, the Animal Justice Project. A lot of these links are in my description, so you can go onto their website, you can order the leaflets, you can print off your own, you can do your own posters. My friend Gail, she prints posters and laminates them and then straps them to lampposts, and she lives in a very rural area in the UK where it's very farmery, and she is literally the only vegan in the village, and everyone knows who she is. So they all know that these posters are her, but she doesn't give two hoots about it, trying not to swear too much. But yeah, so there's so many things that you can do. You can just wear, I mean, this one, not this one in particular, because no one would know what it means, but I've got a hoodie that says "My food didn't beg for mercy." Now I've got that in a hoodie, a t-shirt, and a bag. So when I go shopping at the local shop, I always have the bag on me, like, you know, one of those tote bags, the reusable ones.
Yep.
So that's one way that you can be active. So there's so many. Or you can go to this link here and start up your own breather free in your rural area and get the very few vegans that you have to come along and do that. So there's so many ways. Yeah,
we'll support you every step of the way. And that's a great suggestion about the apparel, because you can also buy it from a sanctuary, and that way you'll be donating money to a sanctuary at the same time as representing the animals when you go out.
Yes. Well, there is a link in the description as well to check that out, Angry Vegan, and it's Defender of Animals, and they do family of four back.
I saw that.
Yay!
Yeah.
We celebrate now. So there's a link in there called Defender of Animals. This is for Angry Vegan. You can buy the jumper that I just said about, "My food didn't scream for mercy or beg for mercy," and other really good activist t-shirts and jumpers and vest tops and bags and whatever you're into. And they give 100% of their profits to 2 sanctuaries. One of them is based in Wales in the UK, and the other one is based down the road from me, which is my favorite one, which is Pear Tree Animal Sanctuary, which I've been to volunteer at a few times. So you're not only wearing something that's got an animal rights message on it, you are, like Zach said, donating to that sanctuary, which is raising funds for them and which is advocacy for the animals. It's literally advocating for those animals, because you're giving money to them. So another thing which is off topic as well, check out Pear Tree Animal Sanctuary's Instagram page. They've got a advent calendar. Every day they're showing photos of their animals, and you can buy little things for the animals to help support them. So please do that. So sorry, I get excited when people ask about little things. It's like, there's so many ways. What's it? I also stay safe. What's that?
Yes. Just if they're holding a screen or setting up a table, some people might be quite oppositional to that. So that's a very good point, Raven.
I didn't say goodbye to Michael, so bye, Michael. And Michael Slack said Carnage. That was the film. Well done.
Yes.
Yeah.
I gotta watch it.
You have to watch it. It's brilliant. And he's going to be at Camp Out next year as well. So I'm really excited about that.
Awesome.
So we've got another troll.
Male or female? Is he talking to me?
What's my gender? I associate as female.
And I associate as male.
Is it the haircut? Is it because I've got shaved hair? Is that what it is? So I am married to a man, and I'm bisexual, but I associate as a female.
Yeah, what's your point? Seize the day that you...
Weird, yeah, maybe. Well, so it's all right. I don't mind. The trolls, all these comments really, really help to push the video out there. So I'm really grateful that you took the time to come on and be nice. And just saying, being honest, you look like oddballs. Well, can someone time them out, please? That would be great.
Didn't your mom teach you, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a pretty basic rule of etiquette.
Do you know what? They do say that you haven't made it on YouTube until you've got trolls.
There you go.
I've made it. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get them off myself. I'm gonna log on to actual YouTube to ban them. I don't want that sort of. I'm gonna mute myself while I do that. If there's any other questions that come up, I got rid of myself completely. If there are any other questions that come up, feel free to ask them. I'm just going to get rid of this troll because I think I've lost all my
Wow,
mods.
yeah. You have a problem with everyone, don't you, Seize the Day? Who hurt you? Yeah, oh, wish you could be a mod. I just don't get mad at them. I kind of feel sorry, if anything.
So I think I've got rid of them. So
Okay.
We will see. That sort of stuff I do not need. So do you know what, Corvid Moon? I will make you a mod after this because I've got loads of mods, but I don't think any of them like are on. The Vegan Poet was a mod, but I think she might have gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I need to make Family 4 explore. Usually I've got like, I think even Bo's a mod as well, but they've gone to a meeting. So I'm so grateful. Yes, agreed. Absolutely agreed.
Sad.
It is sad. I don't understand why people have to do that. Like it's really sad. The carnists feel threatened. Yes, they are, definitely.
Jesus spelled with a G. I've never seen that before.
No, nor have I. They're new to my channel. I've not seen their name on here before.
Yeah.
Or if you have been here before, I'm really, really sorry. I mean, I've got vegan deterioration and my memory's not great. Are there any other questions before we wrap up?
Don't agree? What did they bring up that was to disagree with?
I kicked them off because they were insulting my my sexuality. So and they wrote nigger on there.
Yeah.
So yes, I kicked them off. Why would they do that?
They were raising some very eloquent points. Is I think what We Can Do It is getting at.
I think we need to put this
Wow,
person
there's
off
no
as well.
need for that.
What's now?
Thanks for joining, though. It was great to have you part of this We Can Do It.
They're going to do the same thing. So
I think they're getting ready to do it. Someone might have timed them up, though.
I think I've chimed them up. So
Oh, good.
Right, I think with all the
Because we don't
trials,
agree.
can you go off topic? Yes, Muddy Paws, you can. If you've got a question to ask that's off topic, then yes. Oh my God.
This is my show now. No, it's not.
I thought I hid them. I'm going to remove.
If you have any questions about being vegan, you're welcome to raise them, but suggesting we kick them off because they don't agree is kind of silly.
Maybe it's the same person with a different account. Yeah, probably.
Oh, that's what Raven's saying.
What did you think of yesterday's was that Formula One? I don't watch Formula One, so I have no idea. Zach, do you watch it at all?
No, I'm sorry to disappoint, but cars going vroom. I mean, it's cool. They go super fast and they take those turns really tight. And the cars are amazing, but I did not watch it.
I'm just going to block this user before they come back on.
Mm.
I think they've gone. They've gone. Thank God. There does seem to be a lot of carnists obsessed with veganism. It is weird to see. It is weird. I think we've had so much love in this, and I want to end it on a high. And I want to say a massive thank you to Zach for coming on and being part of my channel and talking about Weed Free and talking about your advocacy with such passion and in such a positive way as well. It's really nice.
Oh, thank you. There's nothing I'd rather do than talk to vegans and inspire animal activism. So such a pleasure to be here. And you're so amazing, Rebecca, that you take time out of your day. You took almost 2 hours today to facilitate this video. So I can't thank you enough.
And you taking 2 hours of your day as well. I'm just sad about the negativity on there and the horrible words. So
yeah,
it doesn't usually get that bad.
They're just triggered.
They're just triggered. But thanks again to everybody for coming on and everyone that gave your positive love and comments on the show to me and Zach, and
Mhm.
my next live stream will be the first Monday of next month. Sorry about last month, but it was my birthday and I was on holiday, so that was why there's no live. But thanks again, Zach. Thanks,
Thank you.
Beans. See you soon.